Hello, how are you? And welcome to this week's episode of the Nditha Mindset Show with me, Irene Patso. It is so good to be here. It's so good to see you. It's another week, and yeah, it's so good to see you. Welcome to the show. And remember that the Nditha Mindset Show is all about personal development, mindset change, self-motivation, and helping you to become the best version of yourself. And I am so thrilled to bring you another episode. It's episode 9, and I hope that you're going to gain value from this episode. I can't wait to introduce to you my guest in the show today. And why did I bring this guy on the show? I think I brought this guy on the show to really encourage you. If you are somebody who has a talent and you're sitting on it and you haven't gotten the courage to go for it and start working on it, I want you to hear his story and to, on the other side, get up and start doing the things that you really love on the back of doing whatever else normal things that you do in your life. Okay, so my guest today is Mr. Mark Panga. He is a banker but also an entrepreneur, and we're going to get deep into his story in this episode. So be on the standby, and I want to encourage you to be part of the show. If you've got comments, please chime in the conversation. We would like to hear from you. All right? We would like to hear from you. If you've got questions for Mark, please write them in the comments, and I'll be happy to ask him the questions that you have. But otherwise, this show is all about moving all of us forward. And welcome, Mr. Mark Panga, to the show.
Thank you.
Looking very relaxed.
Yes, we try.
All right, good. Now, welcome back to the Nditha Mindset Show. Thank you so much for having agreed to be part of this show. And let me just do a little bit of an introduction. So Mark is a relationship manager at one of the key banks in Malawi. But apart from that, he also runs the brand called 7 Arts, and he's got 7 Arts Bakery going. He's also on the side doing 7 Arts Homes, and we want to get into his story to understand why he thought it's valuable for him to, to start side hustling as he is in corporate. So Mark, welcome to the show. And for those people that have never heard of you, they don't know about you, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name, Mark Panga, as introduced, working for National Bank presently as a relationship manager. I've been there for 18 years. So we're going towards retirement now. So I thought, what better time than now to start introducing side hustles. So when we're done and dusted with the present deployment, we should find other things that will keep us going. So pretty much, my background is from Chancellor College. I am an economics graduate, straight from college. That's when I joined National Bank, where I've been for 18 years. 7 Arts has been on the run for 4 years, I think now. But the rest of the sojourns, as you advised, pretty young babies. But yeah, we're getting there.
Yes, one step at a time.
Sure.
Yeah, so getting into 7 Arts, like you've said, it's 4 years in now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how did you find yourself in the bakery aspect of things. How did you start that? How did you find your passion in that?
Oh, well, I think going back to when I was 13, 14, we used to live in Sunnyside at that time. So our neighbors were a family of 7, thereabout. And one of the girls was a very good cook, still does it up to this very day. And so as I visited them frequently, I would learn 1 or 2 things and then go back home and practice it. And because I had keen interest in it, and But it became my passion along the way. I guess I was doing it every day. And then, yeah, one thing led to another across the years. And I'm talking about from since then to now, uh, it became a perfected art. Now, the whole reason of starting to bake was coincidental. That time I was building my house, so the bills were coming in thick and fast. And I thought, listen, I can't do this from just a salary. I need to find something that would bring me extra money so I could afford one or two more bags of cement to finish the house. So yeah, we thought we do cook nice food here. We could basically start doing this. Now, initially we had started with baking and catering, but the catering didn't take off as much as we wanted it to. But the baking itself is one which moved pretty quickly. So naturally, it became the number one gig, which is where it is now.
All right. So I don't know, along the way, you being a guy and baking, did you have like naysayers that said, why are you doing baking, and how did you handle that?
Oh, okay. I think that stigma died very early in the stage because I was one of the biggest contributors in a certain Facebook page. It was called Recipe and Cooking. Yeah, I think it's still there now. So I was one of the biggest contributors. So a lot of people were already aware I do this. So it wasn't the strangest of things to do. Besides, I do this with my wife and her sister. She has a twin sister, so we do this together. So whilst I appear to be the face of the brand, but there are other people who do this along with me also. So it's not a one-man show.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And how has the journey been like? I see, I'm a blancher person, but I see that your cakes are quite exquisite. I don't know about the taste. I'm sure that they're also very good quality. How do you distinguish yourself on the marketplace?
You should try one. We are predominant applying the Lirango market. Blantyre has been supporting the business in a huge way. Over Christmas, we sent about 15 cakes, I think.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, just for Christmas, yes. And Lilongwe is the biggest driver. So we do both, depending on which cake one is asking for. If it can make the journey to Blantyre, then yes, we're more than happy to do. We're sending wedding cakes to Blantyre. We're doing wedding cakes for Lilongwe also. Nzuzu, I have done 2 times, I think, or 2 or 3 times thereabout. How do I distinguish myself from the rest? There are hundreds of bakers in Lilongwe. Just Area 49 alone has got well over 100 bakers. So it's a stiff competition. Now, there are two ways of doing it. The design or the taste. All right. So with most bakers, it's one or the other, right? What we try to do is to have a combination of both. The taste and the design. And so because I have tended to have an artistic side that is still very active from a young age, that has tended to push me well ahead of a number of people, so to speak. Yeah, there are some I do admire that are miles ahead of me, but it is what it is. So it's a combination of taste and design. You know, what people don't want is to have a cake that looks very beautiful, but once you cut it inside, it's all glue and whatever.
Mm.
Sure.
Yeah, it is always disappointing sometimes. You get a beautiful cake, but the taste is not so good, and it's a letdown. And
Yes.
yeah, so I hope that those people that are watching and they're also in the same trade, they can work on the quality of the ingredients. All right. That said, I know that bakers need to have like precision in terms of like having precision is one of the key traits of the baker. Would you say that you have used that element to then branch off into the other businesses that you are branching off in? Has that played a role?
Yes. In a huge way.
Okay.
I think the name of the business itself is Seven Arts. So it's not just a guest name. What I do is try to be artistic in every sense of the word. Now, the vision is that uh, there will be seven businesses, okay? Seven arts. So baking is one of the arts. Then the homes is the second, which pretty much covers the B&Bs and the interior decoration. Then we also do construction. So the construction is that something that one of those things that your skills in doing these things comes into plain view. So yes, baking was the launch pad, and it has spilled over to the other businesses in a key way.
And I'm interested to find out that along the way of doing this, like having a normal job, which is also demanding, and branching off and doing these side hustles, what is it that you've learned about yourself along the way?
I think the main difference between those that are making it and those that are not um, is not exactly the lack of capacity, but it is the courage to do it. So there are a lot of folks that have gone to school, have attended education of all sorts of shapes and forms. There are people that have got the money sitting in the bank and which they would use to do all sorts of things, but they are not. But when the day comes that you decide to rise up and do something, you'll be amazed what is out there to do. So, from all this drama, I think I've learned that I can be quite fearless because entrepreneurship is not as pretty as people put it. It's tough. It's a it's mad man game. Okay, it's bloody. So there are so many gigs that I have done and have failed miserably. It just turns out that this seems to have picked up, and we're here to talk about the good story. But there are so many crazy stories behind it. But to still be here, you really need to be resilient and fearless and keep going, regardless of the setbacks that we tend to meet along the way.
What would you say? I know you've talked about the challenges that you've faced and things that you've overcome. What would you say is like something that stands out that you can share with somebody who is sitting back and going like, "Ish, me, I can't get out of my comfort zone." What is the challenge that you've faced and you've overcome, and you're proud of yourself that you're on the other side of it now?
At the moment, the biggest challenge for everybody really is starting. All right. I can tell you, there are so many people that will be way ahead if they only started, but they don't. Okay. There are people who are in jobs that they're not happy about. There are people who are living in places that they are not happy about. Take an example of constructing a house. It sounds like a monumentous task, which everybody is scared of starting. But if you only start, you'll be shocked at what you can come up with. So, Seven Arts for me showed me that if you start, then there are all sorts of endless possibilities that are out there. Because from the baking have come out of it has come Seven Arts Homes. Presently, we're talking about 3 homes, 2 in Air Wing and 1 in 49 currently. And we are testing the ground to see how far it goes. If it works, then we'll be pushing it towards 4, 5, 6, even 10. As long as it works, it will grow by itself. Then the construction, we started with a small house in Ewing. Then we were trusted with a huge home for some guy who stays in South Africa. We were doing that. And then 2 more came. We are also doing that, one for another guy staying in the US, another guy staying in the UK. And so it has just been a huge leap of faith that we took, and it's turned out really well. So starting is what everybody fears to do. But once you start, you'll be amazed at what is out there. Sure. So I encourage everybody to start. Whatever it is, no matter how small it is, start. Mm-hmm.
Very good point. Very good point. And to those people that are watching, thank you guys. I see you. I see you, Anna. Thank you for the comments. I see you, Jackie. I see you, Lusayo. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your presence, and I hope that you're getting value from what Mark is sharing. And I have a quote here. It says, "I'm not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions." What would you say to that quote? Is it true or not?
Very true. Mm-hmm. Very true. Usually we're very good at blaming the world around us for everything that happens to us. But you'll be shocked at how much 90% of it is your choices and your decisions. It may not be a decision you made today. It's a decision you made a long time ago. Did you go to school or you didn't? What decision, what courses did you take? After college, what did you do? What are you doing now? What did you do in the morning? Simple things amount to the big things that we have today. So nothing is coincidental. Everything happens because of the choices we make. Now, there's something I learned from the CEO of Alibaba. He said, in your 20s, 30s, those are times to play. You can find a good job, find a good boss, and learn everything from them. In your 40s, practice the things you have learned, all right? In your 50s, that's when you're growing old. In your 60s, go and celebrate with your grandchildren. Now, my peers are in the late 30s, 40s. I would say this is the time to start practicing what we have learned, no longer time to fear. And the decision is in your hands to do it. So yes, everybody's decision affects their destiny, positive or negative, really.
So good. It's so good. And I also want you to comment on this. It says mindset is what separates the best from the rest. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. One of my biggest inspiration, those people that are around me, they know, is Elon Musk. And I always say that guy will get me in trouble one day, because the way he sees the world is very different from everybody. Okay, what everybody says can't be done, he says it can be done, and he actually proves it by going out there and do it. And I think every day I watch about 30 minutes to an hour of the updates that have happened from all his companies, from Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, and the other companies. Now he also bought Twitter, which has been problematic, but there's been a lot of lessons to learn from there too. And I think he has shaped a lot of what I do today. If you tell yourself this can't be done, it actually affects the way your muscles operate. Okay? If you tell yourself this can be done, it also affects the way your muscles operate. So mindset is everything, as I would like to put it. I would also add that I think it's important to have a tough mindset because the world is a cruel place. It's a tough place. It does not accept weak people. You really need to put on a tough face, a tough mindset, and do what everybody says can be done. In your small space, in your big space, everywhere. Yeah.
So good. So good. And to our audience, Jackie, I see you. So yeah, 40s are the years of implementation. It's time to leave behind the fear and to really get dirty and get on the playing ground and start to implement all those lessons that you have learned along the way. And moving on, I'd want to find out. Yes, you've talked about Elon Musk. I was about to ask, who do you admire and why? So Elon Musk must be one of them. I don't know if you've got anybody else that you admire and you'd like to share that with us.
Every single day, I think that's my go-to guy. I mean, for me, I'd suggest you take time and go through his portfolio and see what he does. Then it will actually make sense what I'm talking about. For those that are not familiar, I mean, he has done the impossible, from creation of electric cars and creating rockets that go into space and come back. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And he does encourage people to try things, all right? Those with education, those with no education, he does encourage all of them to do something with what they have learned. And he actually says you literally can learn anything you want to do for free. Everything is available online. I think my biggest consumer of data at the moment is YouTube because I'm trying to learn the practice that I have embarked on. So I watch a lot of baking, what people are doing. So maybe to add to the list of the people I admire, let me categorize them in each particular trade. Generally, if you talk about the mindset, then Elon Musk tops the rank. In baking, there's a guy called Man About Cakes. If you YouTube that guy, you see what kind of crazy things he does. So he's the biggest inspirator there. In construction, a lot of what I have learned has been from Grand Design. It's a show that's available on JSTV. National Geo, you find it there. Interior decoration, there's been a series of decorators that have been doing this. I've watched hundreds of hours of this, then put a lot of it into practice. And from my house to the B&Bs that we have done, after posting them on Facebook, we've seen some interest from several others wanting us to do a job for them. So yes, Man About Cakes and not Grand Construction. Those will be the other two inspirational places where I draw a lot of this that I do.
Very interesting. I am thankful that you're open enough to share exactly what has impacted your life in terms of like the business element. And I think that to our audience, that is, that is a trait to emulate, because sometimes we are online, yes, but what we're doing online is not really productive. So you find that on the same space, other people are finding opportunities and they are really honing on their skills and turning them into businesses. And I think that this is something that all of us have to start to emulate if we are not already doing it, right? So that's the way to go. Use your time online to learn all that you can to become a better version of yourself. And Mark, I'm also interested for you to talk on the issue of money, the issue of pricing. I think I read at some point you made a post about how people complain about the price of a cake, and you were making a case about it. You were making a case about it, and I want you to just touch on that, to say, talk about money from your perspective.
Well, let me start from the cake front. And I think in talking about this, I'll be speaking for a lot of people. So, unfortunately, business is a world of demand and supply, all right? Most of the prices that people are going by are determined by that. Secondly, information asymmetry. If I know something that you don't, then I'm likely to charge you more. Like, for example, people in Inchinji can be buying soya at 500, and in Salima they can be buying at 560. But if these two places are not speaking to each other, then the ones in Salima will benefit. But with the advent of technology, you find that people call each other, and then suddenly the information is going around that this is the price, and it tends to even the playing field. Now, back to the cakes, because of the demand and supply factor, there are a lot of bakers, which tends to push the price down. However, I am yet to learn how some people do it, because you still find bakers that are charging 15,000 for a cake, 20,000, without being disrespectful to anyone, but it's actually surprising, okay? Because at the moment, at the start of 2023 in January, thereabout, we were buying cream at 3,000, 4,000 thereabout. Today, the same cream is going at 8,000 something. All right. And when that cream is no longer available in the chain stores, then we have to buy from other places more expensive, let's say 10,000. I wonder how you can then end up charging a cake at 15,000. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think because there are people who can actually do it cheaper, the market tends to think that cake making is cheap, yet it's not cheap. Okay, so in a cake, you have cream, you have flour, you have eggs, you have got butter, all those things that you put in a cake. On top of that, then you have to add in electricity plus rental. And then after all those, you have to pay yourself for doing the job. Then you have to add a profit. You see that at that point, a cake no longer becomes a cheap commodity. And so when people are buying cake, they must understand that it's not a cheap thing. All right. So when we charge, we would want the prices not to be negotiable for two reasons. One, because it's expensive to make. Secondly, because when people go in ShopRite, they never negotiate anything. Okay, they'll just go on the till and pay. When people go abroad, they never negotiate anything. They just go ahead and pay. I posted about my B&Bs to be at X amount of fees. Yes, and I got mixed reactions. People said, "Oh no, you're expensive." Okay. Some said, "Okay, it's a fair price." All right. So when you get a booking, you find that people will say, "Oh, okay, listen, dude, I've got 50." What do you say? All right. But no one says that to Mount Sochi. No one says that to Mafumu Lodge. No one says that to Sandberg. That's just how it works. That when these businesses we are being owned by SMEs, everybody thinks they can, cry the price down. I guess it's in our culture. It's something we live with, but it's something that I think must not happen. So money, I think consumers need to respect people that are in the business. It takes a lot to get a product in your space. It takes a lot to maintain quality. It takes a lot to even draw out a compliment of nice from you. So for all that experience that somebody has created for you, I think they need to be compensated appropriately. Unfortunately, those are not things that in our culture we tend to respect towards small and medium enterprises. So, yeah, I hope I've answered the questions correctly.
Yes, you have. And I would also just want to chime in to say that for those people that are service providers, you have to realize that there is a client for every price point. So whatever it is that you decide to charge for your product, you're the one who knows the value that is in that product. And you should expect to be able to attract the right clients that are meant for your business. And so you should not really be under pressure to lower your prices because the person who's got, 85,000 kwacha to pay for a BNB, they're going to pay for it because for them, they know the value that they're going to get. So you want to be in that sort of mindset to say, hey, you know what, this is my price and the right aligned customers are going to find me and we're going to do business. I think that's what I would say. And as we're winding up, I want to find out, is there a book that you've read that has impacted your life and you'd want to share it to our audience?
Oh, let me put it plainly to you. I'm not a fan of reading.
Okay.
All right. I'm an artist. So I'm on a certain forum where people make all sorts of fun of me about that. So they say, oh, you've always been dumb. Some say if you don't want him to find out, hide it in a book. So here's how I do it. If I can find the same information online in a video, that's what I'm going to do. So I think there's good amount of money in arts, all right? And everybody must learn to find out what they are good at and then pursue it. So if there was something I would recommend to do, for me, for those that love reading, well and good. Me, I'm a YouTuber. So every time I go home in the evening, back in the days, I used to watch a lot of South African series, Generations, Isitingo, The Queen, all those. So I'd start from 6 all the way to 10 o'clock. And then I did that for 5 years, and I realized that I wasted a lot of time watching those things. So I swapped that with other meaningful things. So I instead watch a lot of cake making, interior decor, and home construction. Then a lot of Elon Musk. So that's what consumes a lot of my time in the evening. Learn something every day. It's possible to. If you find it in book, well and good. I just don't go there. I prefer to have it on YouTube.
Perfect. Great. And for people that want to do business with you, can you share with us where they can find you?
Yes. On Facebook, I'm available. Mark Panga. I'm available under that name. Then there's also another page named 7 Arts. I'm on Twitter also as Mark Panga, on Instagram as Mark Panga, and 7 Arts also. So now, all those pages have got my contacts. Anybody who wants to reach me, they can always go on my page. It has all my details. We don't hide our numbers there. We have everything there. Sure.
All right. Thank you, Mark, for having been a guest on the Nditha Mindset Show, and thank you for sharing the value that you've given us, and we wish you all the best in all your business endeavors. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. To our audience, thank you for having been there. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. It was a pleasure. See you guys next week on another episode of the Nditha Mindset Show. This is Irene Patso. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.